Live from WTVO 17 and your home team, Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Preparing for school, the Winnebago County Health Department offers advice for parents. A memorial to a native son of Dixon is defaced. Police provide pictures of who they say did it. If you recognize them, it could earn you some cash. For the first time under a new name, a state-line water park is open and ready for those looking to beat the heat. The changes you need to know about before heading out the door. Good evening, I'm Mimi Muprhy. Eric is off tonight. In just over a month, state-line schools are expected to have kids and staff walking the halls once again. But with COVID-19 still a threat, many are wondering what to expect. Today, local health experts look to ease some of those concerns. Brittany Toolis joins us now. And Brittany, they say it's about preparing your family.
Mimi, Winnebago County's Health Department Director, Dr. Sandra Martell, says parents need to start preparing now for the school year. Face coverings will be part of the dress code. To get kids used to them, Dr. Martell says they should practice wearing them before school starts. Assigned seating on buses and classrooms should be expected. And because of their size, most classrooms won't be able to keep kids 6 feet apart. Instead, schools will be doing what's called cohorting kids. Summer camps and daycares are doing it now. It keeps the same group of kids together the entire day. It's important to keep kids from mixing cohorts outside of school for things like birthday parties, too. Dr. Sandra Martell warned parents not to be alarmed if someone gets infected in school and the school stays open.
Because we will identify what portions of the school or classroom or who's impacted. Similar to what we're talking about in some of the step and that tiered response is taking a much more targeted approach to making sure that we certainly quarantine those who were most impacted and isolating anyone who's ill.
Parents should expect to answer more questions when calling their kids in sick. Dr. Martell says they should talk to employers now, too, about possibly having to work from home if their kids have to isolate. Mimi?
Thanks, Brittany. The state topped 1,000 new cases today. That brings the grand total to nearly 163,000. 6 more people died. The Illinois Teachers Union calls for classrooms to stay empty this fall. Staff at a handful of state-line schools belong to the Illinois Federation of Teachers. Rock Valley College and the Harlem School District are 2 of them. The union says the school year should start with remote learning statewide. Rising COVID numbers coupled with a lack of a safety plan are reasons for the recommendation. The union came up with guidelines to safely open schools to in-person learning. More than a dozen schools and districts in the state line have unveiled plans for returning this fall. You can find that on our website, mystateline.com. Chicago's mayor is taking the city back over their COVID-19 numbers. Starting Friday, any bar that doesn't have a food license won't be able to sell alcohol inside. Today, Governor Pritzker applauded Mayor Lori Lightfoot for the decision.
And the state stands behind these municipalities in their efforts. Our city and county leaders, with case numbers and hospitalizations rising and localized information about outbreaks readily available, can and should do what they know is right to protect their residents.
In Chicago, along with bars, all indoor fitness classes will be limited to 10 people. The mayor said these restrictions will help limit further spread throughout the community. Between COVID-19 and trade wars, many American farmers are struggling to get by. Only a fraction of them saw any coronavirus relief through the Paycheck Protection Plan. But as Anna Warnicki reports, some in Congress are working to change the language in the next relief package to get farmers the help they need. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
Farmers are still farming. They're out there 24/7, 365.
R.J. Carney with the American Farm Bureau Federation says farmers are running out of fuel fast.
And Congress has tried to respond at unprecedented speed.
Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn says Congress quickly created the Paycheck Protection Program in April to help small businesses stay open. But Carney says a majority of farmers were left out.
The way the regulations are currently written, if a sole proprietor has a 0 or a negative net farm income, they are essentially ineligible to participate in the Paycheck Protection Program.
Carney says that means the 86% of U.S. farmers who identify as self-employed and lost money last year due to the trade wars don't qualify for a PPP loan. So he's asking Congress to change the wording of who qualifies.
This would significantly increase the amount of sole proprietors who would be eligible for Paycheck Protection Program.
We knew that doing something that big and that fast, it wasn't going to be perfect, but we knew it was an emergency.
Cornyn says replenishing and revising the PPP program is one of Congress's top priorities as they return to Washington this week. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he hopes to pass the next coronavirus relief bill by the end of the month. In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki.
President Trump says he'll resume regular coronavirus briefings. This after surges in several states, including Florida, Texas, and California. The president says he'll talk about the latest on treatment options. The first briefing is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Dixon police look to the public for help finding a pair of vandals. They're looking for these women. Police say they vandalized a statue of President Ronald Reagan on the city's waterfront. The base of the statue was tagged with Black Lives Matter and a pair of handprints. It happened last Tuesday. The tribute to the 40th president was completed in 2006. It sits along the Rock River where Reagan served as a lifeguard in the 1920s. If you have any information, call Dixon Police or Crime Stoppers. Your tip could earn you $1,000. 2 people are sent to the hospital after a crash at a rural Winnebago County intersection. This was the scene at Latham Road and Rockton Avenue around 12:30 this afternoon. You can see the red truck slammed into the SUV. Both vehicles ended up in the ditch. 2 people were hurt. No word on their condition. It's not clear what led up to the accident. Police are investigating. Rockford's Family Peace Center is now open for online services. The one-stop shop for victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse has been in the works for years. The building on North Main Street was supposed to open earlier this month, but COVID-19 has pushed back the date. But victims can still get help over the phone. Operators are taking calls and able to connect people with various services.
We can do everything from connect them to law enforcement if they need to file a police report, talk to a civil attorney, talk to a state's attorney if there's a criminal case pending around their domestic violence. If they need counseling, if they need safety planning and advocacy, if they'd like to seek an order of protection from the court, we can do that remotely from this location.
If it's not safe for you to make a phone call, the Family Peace Center will allow some people inside the building following COVID safety procedures. If you need help, you can call 779-348-7600 Monday through Friday between 8 and 5. But if it's an emergency, call 911. A State Line summertime destination opens for the season. Six Flags Hurricane Harbor Rockford opened to season pass holders and members today. People lined up for the chance to cool off. COVID has created the need for some changes. Temperature checks are being done when visitors enter the park. Masks must be worn at all times when you're not in the water. Reservations are now required.
Our reservation system that we have in place really helps with our social distancing. It allows guests to come at a staggered time so not everybody is arriving at once. It also allows for attendance caps so our park is not at full capacity.
The park opens to the general public Wednesday. For a link to make a reservation, find this story on the My State Line app. Chicago's top cop speaks out after dozens of city police officers are hurt over the weekend. Today, police released videos showing protesters and police clashing in Grant Park Friday. That's where officers are guarding a Christopher Columbus statue. CPD says people threw frozen water bottles, rocks, and explosives. A large banner protesters were carrying covered a PVC pipe that was sharpened and used to attack officers. Moving forward, Chicago Police Superintendent David Brown has ordered all officers to wear full protective gear during protests.
What began as a peaceful protest at Grant Park Friday evening devolved into a very dangerous situation in which mob action deliberately sought to injure officers. 49 Chicago police officers were injured.
The violence sent 18 officers to area hospitals. Police arrested 12 people. Chicago's mayor says no thanks to the president's offer to help curb violence and protests. Federal agents could be deployed to Chicago this week. Mayor Lori Lightfoot says she's concerned unmarked agents and vehicles will only make the situation worse. She cited examples of federal agents arresting protesters in Portland, she says without cause, which has led to lawsuits. Instead, Lightfoot suggested the president help tighten gun control laws.
He could make sure that we close the gun show loophole. We could pass universal background checks. We could make sure that people that aren't allowed to fly don't get guns. These are simple things that could happen if the president is serious about helping us.
The president of Chicago's Fraternal Order of Police drafted a letter to the president asking for help. In it, he said Lightfoot is unwilling or unable to help maintain the peace.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
Well, we had some sunshine to start us off with for our Monday with a cloud cover, and now a couple of light rain showers have been moving in from the west, and we'll hold on to a few of those sprinkles and a couple of light showers over the next couple of hours as our skies are expected to stay mostly cloudy here as we head into the overnight tonight. You notice the overall trend kind of weakening as it encounters a little bit more dry air, but a thunderstorm moving just to the south of us here this evening. No significant weather expected, although to our south there have actually been a couple cold air funnel reports that have come in over the past couple of hours. Christopher shared this picture in the town of Lee looking southward. You can actually see that cold air funnel extending downward, the rain off here to the right hand side of the picture, and then you've got the funnel extending down. Very rarely do those actually reach the ground. They come down, usually don't spin or rotate. Sometimes they can, but there's actually an old boundary just to our south that has allowed some of those cold air funnels to develop. A couple of pictures have been coming in, so thank you, Christopher, for sharing that with us here this evening. It is a cloudy scene. A live look with our Mercial SkyTrack camera up in Beloit, Wisconsin. Not really much for the sunshine here late this afternoon, and our temperatures have cooled off as a result. 74 degrees now in Freeport, 79 in Janesville, Rockford, 77 in Rochelle. Wind has been fairly light for us this afternoon. Our weather watcher Bob the last hour checking in with 83, a dew point temperature of 60, and hasn't recorded any rainfall yet. And again, not expecting much rain, just a few sprinkles, a couple of light showers as we go through this evening. Temperature tonight will dip down to about 65 degrees. Tomorrow we're back up to 83, but with another system coming in, we've got a better chance for some showers and a couple of thunderstorms as we work into the afternoon and early evening hours. So let's kind of time that out as we go through the overnight tonight. We'll start off with mostly cloudy sky. Not going to completely rule out maybe a light shower or two. There is a warm front that comes closer to us during the late morning and afternoon hours, and I think as that front comes through, that'll increase that chance for some of those thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon. Could get some gusty winds, and again, heavy rainfall with any of those storms that comes through during the afternoon and evening. Cold front then begins to move closer to us, so we will hang on to that chance for some of those showers and thunderstorms through the first half of Wednesday. We might get an isolated shower Wednesday afternoon, but there is a little bit more dry air that comes in during the afternoon, which will help dry us out as we go into Thursday. Now, we do have a marginal risk, which is the lower end risk for some stronger thunderstorms. Again, it would be the wind and the heavy rainfall tomorrow that we would be concerned with any storm that does develop. Again, our better chance coming in once we get into the afternoon and early evening. 85 degrees on Wednesday. We're down to 84 on Thursday. Should be pretty comfortable. You'll start to notice things warm up a little bit here as we head towards our Friday. And then we've got that heat and humidity that build back in for the weekend as highs Saturday and Sunday climb back into the 90s.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Leber.
We could get word later this week on the fate of high school sports in the fall in Illinois. The IHSA last week deferred its decision-making power to the governor and to state health officials. So what does the governor think of the chances of there being sports this fall?
At this moment, our hope is that high school sports will go on. This is a moment when we're just going to have to make decisions as we go. But Illinois is doing well so far.
In California, they have decided to push back the start of the high school football season until December or January. Many top seniors will likely pass on the season and enroll in college early. The NBA has some good news. Not one player tested positive for COVID-19 this past week. The NHL reports that only 2 of its players have tested positive since teams opened training camp a week ago. Later this week, the Blackhawks head out to Edmonton to begin their playoff qualifying round against the Oilers. The Oilers are known for their strong power play and penalty kill, so Jeremy Colleton says the Blackhawks will have to be sharp on special teams.
It's an important part of the game, no question. We understand the challenge that their team poses strong in both facets of special teams, so we've been spending time on it, and we'll continue to do that. We feel good about it. We think we've made progress in both areas this year. now we're going to have a huge test.
The NFL and the Players Association have agreed on testing during training camp. The first 2 weeks, players will be tested daily with results expected back in 24 hours. After that, testing could be cut back to every other day, depending on how many positive tests come back. Rookies are supposed to report to training camps tomorrow around the NFL, but Jason Wild of The Athletic reports the Packers are putting the start of their rookie camp on hold. Players won't be reporting tomorrow. More White Sox and Cubs baseball comes our way this evening. The two teams will go at it at Guaranteed Rate Field. Yu Darvish and Dallas Keuchel will be the starting pitchers. The Sox beat the Cubs last night 7-3.
Temperatures tonight will dip down into the mid-60s. We've got a couple of sprinkles and a few light showers moving in, but not a lot of that actually reaching the ground, as it does encounter a bit more dry air. But don't be surprised if you get a sprinkle or maybe even see some of that verga as some of the rainfall evaporates before it reaches the ground. Temperatures in the low 80s tomorrow. Better chance for some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Gusty winds and some heavy rainfall possible.
All right, thanks, Candace, and thanks for watching. We'll see you at 6.